This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. What you just saw and heard there was me doing a little bit of basic strumming. It's Wednesday after all, and we're doing a whole kind of bunch of things about rhythm guitar in the Wednesday slot at the moment and for the foreseeable future. That basic down-up strumming motion is the foundation of so many things on the guitar. Obviously, many different strumming styles, accompaniment and so on, but it's also the same sort of basic engine that keeps you fluent in your picking when you're playing lead guitar. So many things that have that foundation in that basic relaxed down-up strumming motion. So I thought it'd be worthwhile today kicking off this next section of the Rhythm Wednesday slot by having a look at some basic strumming techniques. So let's have a little bit of an explanation about what I was actually getting up to there.
Rhythm explanation.
Okay then, let's start off with a basic down-up strumming motion that goes like this. You can see first of all that we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're strumming down on all of the numbers and up on all of the ands. This is sometimes called 8th note strumming because there are 8 strums there, basically 4 downs and 4 ups. Or it's sometimes referred to as quaver strumming. Quavers and 8th notes, just different words for the same thing. So I'm going to be playing a D chord with this hand. We're not really interested in what this hand's doing here. This is all about strumming. We're looking at this hand. So if I play through that, it will be counted and sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, that's the basic motion, and you can see I'm going down and up like that. The movement is coming from the elbow, and the wrist is moving, but the movement isn't originating in the wrist. The wrist is just moving because it's connected to the elbow, which is moving. I'm not gripping the pick too hard. If you just look at this, you can see how loosely I'm holding the pick. Look at any concert footage of any live band, and the first thing you notice, or one of the first things that you notice, is that there are usually dozens of spare plectrums attached to the mic stands and stuck on guitars and stuff like that. The reason for that is that if you're holding the pick correctly, you should be just on the verge of not quite dropping it. Okay, the moment you kind of grip the pick too hard, your strumming arm will tense up and it will sound wooden and robotic and mechanical like this. Not good. Okay, you also notice that the upstrokes are shown as a little bit smaller than the downstrokes. That's because when you're going down, you're catching basically all of the strings involved with the chord. And when you're coming back up, you're just going like that, just clipping just a few strings. There's an arc involved here. I'm exaggerating that. Let me turn this way so you can see. I'm exaggerating that arc for the purposes of illustration here, but it's basically that kind of motion here. And as you're coming back up, you can see that I'm just clipping the top 2 or 3 strings, and on the way down it's the full chord. So basically you want to get that rhythm to the point where you can play it without kind of having to think about it. A good rule of thumb is if you can do this, where I'm just strumming that rhythm now. Hopefully you can still hear me voice. And I'm able to strum that rhythm, keeping in time, and I'm not having to think about it. I can have a conversation. If you're still having to think about, downstrokes and upstrokes, then, then that's using up all of your processing capacity. And, what happens when you need to change your chord? What happens when you need to sing along with it? You've got nothing, you've got no spare room there. So you need to get this basically into muscle memory. And this basic rhythm here is, the foundation for a lot of other things. What we can start doing is essentially missing strokes out. Now, this is where a lot of people get confused. They think they need to kind of stop and not do the strum. You keep that motion going, that down-up motion happening no matter what, because if you don't, it's going to sound, kind of a bit sort of disjointed. So what we're going to do here is, let's look at this example. You can see I've grayed out the and of beat 1. So what's going to happen there is I'm going to be missing the strings on the way back up. The strum is still happening, but essentially I'm just strumming thin air, and that's going to go like this. So I'll put the count in as well. So it's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that. And just by mixing those first 2 examples around, the previous one where we're hitting all of the strokes and this one, you can create a little bit of variety in a rhythm guitar part, like this. Just gives a little bit of dynamics to the music and stops it sounding like the same thing happening over and over again. Now, most people find that example relatively easy to get their heads around. It's this next one that we're going to look at that is the one that tends to give people a bit of a hard time. You can see what we're doing here is we're going to be missing a downstroke on the beat of 3. And let me just show you the sound that creates first of all. And I see this all the time. People will hear that rhythm because it's a very popular strumming pattern, happens on a lot of songs. People will hear that and they'll have a go at doing it and do something like this. Which, you might think, well, that doesn't sound too bad. What's wrong with that? Well, it's all the starting and stopping that's going to be the problem there. If you're keeping this motion going in a nice, relaxed, fluent manner that's in sync, in time with the music, then it's impossible to go wrong. Well, hopefully. The only thing that can go wrong is that you might hit something that you intended to miss, or miss something that you intended to hit. Whereas if you're kind of stopping and starting and relying on kind of just essentially guesswork to know when to start the rhythm up again, then at some point when you're singing, when you're changing chords, when you've got other tasks to do as you're playing the guitar, you're going to get that interval, that kind of that time between this strum where you've done this and then starting up again on the next strum. That's going to go wrong. You can also end up 180 degrees out of step, where you're doing an upstroke when you should be doing a downstroke, and vice versa. And as we've already discussed, downstrokes sound different to upstrokes. So The basic way I find that most people can get this right is just to relax, and a little psychological thing. When you're counting, don't think 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and think 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and. So 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and 1 and 2 and miss and 4 and, like that, and just keeping that motion going. It depends on how badly you may already have ingrained a bad habit of doing that, you know, where you're kind of starting and stopping. Bad habits can be difficult to break, but it's worth persevering with it. Now, the final example I'm going to show you is this one here, where we're combining both approaches that we've looked at. You know, where we're missing the upstroke on the and of 1 and we're missing the downstroke on the 3. So that's going to go. So now we've got 4 different rhythms. We've got this one. We've got this one. We've got this one. And we've got this one. And you can put those together into myriads of combinations. You know, just playing through a simple chord sequence now, you could have something like this. It makes it sound more varied and more interesting for the listener, and you'll get to the point where you can literally just improvise with any pattern of hit and missed upstrokes and downstrokes that you want. These 4 examples, let's look at them again. This one, this one, this one, and this one. These are not by any means definitive. They just illustrate the basic principle of either missing an upstroke or missing a downstroke, or combining that. And you know, you can kind of miss any combination of down and upstrokes you like. You might have something that might go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and missing the downstroke on the 2 and the 3, or missing the 3 and the 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that. You can basically end up doing it on the fly, just as a result of being able to keep that motion going. So the piece that you heard at the beginning of the video, basically there's all 4 of those rhythms illustrated on that, and you know, they're just in different places in the piece, and you know, it adds up to something that's, you know, sounds quite entertaining and hopefully quite pleasing and fluent. It has a flow to it. So if you're one of my Patreon supporters, you can grab the performance of that and the jam track to play along with, and it's all written out and everything. So yeah, go away and have some fun with it. And as I mentioned in that clip, there is the video of me playing that little piece and that explanation you've just seen there, a PDF showing the strumming patterns and the chord changes for the piece, and a backing track for you to play along with for yourself. All of that is, as usual, up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is in the description. $3 or £2.50 a month, and you get access to all of these different resources and bits and pieces that go along with these YouTube videos. A massive heartfelt thank you to everybody who supports me in that, or any of the other ways, all of which are also linked down in the description. And that is pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you found the video useful and informative in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not give me a like while you're at it? Don't forget the live stream every Friday at 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer. That's the main thing that goes on. We also talk about music and guitars and all manner of other stuff that often crops up. It's a fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.